Picture this. You're standing on the edge of retirement, ready to leap into the new chapter of your life. But what if I told you that tapping the brakes might actually just be the best decision you might ever make? If you're thinking about this, you're not alone. A recent study from Fidelity at the end of 2022 found that more than 60% of people who haven't yet retired say they're delaying their start date because everything has gotten so expensive. Inflation is the number one worry, fearing it will erode their savings and their way of life. A further 55% fear that they won't have enough actually saved to begin with. A choppy stock market is only making things worse, with 45% pressing pause on their retirement because they're worried about their investments. So in this video, we're going to uncover the 7 legitimate reasons why slowing things down might actually be the best way to go. It turns out they're not all about the dollars and the cents. The last one in particular actually has nothing to do with money at all. But first, if we haven't met, I'm Steve Willems. I'm a wealth advisor with the Willems Wealth Planning Group out here in BC. We started this channel to help you plan for your own retirement, helping you think about how to plan and arrange your investments, your income, and ideally have you pay less tax in the process. There's a great concept out there that we should only focus on the things that matter and the things that are fully within our control. It's actually an idea we've talked about on this channel previously right here. Delaying retirement generally squarely lies in the middle of those two spheres. More often than not, it's both massively important. It's a super important decision. And again, generally, you have a degree of control over the timing. So what are the key reasons that might justify a delay of your retirement? Well, first is pretty simple. If you do not have enough savings, and not in the I don't think I have enough saved sense, but in a true I've tested it and I've confirmed I'm not financially ready sense. A delay, even a short delay, can help in 3 critical ways. First, it defers the drawdown of your assets, and this is pretty meaningful. Number 2, it allows more time for additional savings off of your earnings, off of your employment income while you still work. And number 3, it allows more time for those investments to compound further additional growth. These 3 things can all work together to add up to have a massive effect. I was recently reviewing a client scenario where we had done an original financial plan for them back in 2019. At the time, they were going to be working for 1 more year and then retiring. Well, as life would have it, COVID happened, and they ended up working an extra 3 years beyond their planned retirement date. What they were able to do is they were able to maintain their savings rate, albeit at a lower amount than what was normal for them. They were saving about $10,000 a year off of their $180,000 income. After they delayed retirement by 3 years, they then launched into retirement with about $500,000 more capital set aside, which, all else equal, keeping their lifestyle income the same, actually is projected to result in over $2 million of increased net worth value at the time when the oldest of the 2 of them is 90 years old. This is the magic of compounding. This is the effect of small decisions in this period of time of your life that will magnify and potentially have a massive impact down the road. It's super important that you run out a robust retirement income plan to specifically map out where your income is going to come from: CPP, OAS, your RIF draws, perhaps draws or dividends, salaries out of your company if you have one, to get you this confidence that you're making the actual right decision. I tell you, if I had $1 every single time I had a new client say to me that they've already done this work, then they show me their napkin sketch calculation, I myself would probably be retired already. So you need a robust retirement income plan to actually test this math out. It's a math problem. Number 2, it might be best to delay retirement if you don't yet have a plan to deal with outstanding debts. Most people, they would want their mortgage paid off and any other consumer loans, so auto loans, credit card bills, by the time they make this jump into retirement. Eliminating the debt service cost frees up cash flows for other things, lifestyle things, travel, adventure, new hobbies, which is especially important when the income shifts to now coming from your assets as opposed to coming from your employment earnings. Third, it might be worth delaying retirement once you've thought through the various early retirement penalties that you might be subject to. You see, if you draw CPP monthly benefit early, it gets reduced by 36%, plus any other phantom adjustments that would have to be reflected on the basis of inflation or wage growth. Given this is a guaranteed inflation-adjusted income stream for the rest of your life, maximizing it, especially if you have longevity in the bloodline, can be a massive impact. Further, specific work pensions also may carry penalties in the event of an early draw by paying reduced monthly benefits. For example, if you happen to participate in the municipal pension plan out here in BC, you'll see on this statement an earliest reduced and an earliest unreduced figure that are wildly different from each other. Now you can think of this in one of two ways. The first way, you can think of this by saying, okay, by taking the earliest reduced option, you're getting 33% less monthly benefit by drawing now versus waiting. Or another way, and the way that I personally prefer, is by flipping this around. So instead of by saying I'll get 33% less, by waiting, I'm actually producing an additional 49% total return improvement to my future pension cash flows. In this case, increasing monthly income from $3,705 to $5,545 is a 49% enhancement from that starting point. That better starting point would serve me and my family for the rest of our lives. And so this can be an ingredient as you think through how to make this decision. The fourth reason to potentially delay retirement is the fact that early draws of these pensions can limit your future options. We talked about the necessary financial plan. If that plan shows that things will be tight down the road, given the reduced cash flow or the reduced asset values from drawing down on those assets earlier, then it's probably a good idea to give your future self a wider berth, a more meaningful margin of safety, a buffer. So picking the path that expands your future options, not narrows them, might be the smart thing to do. The fifth reason to delay retirement is if you're finding your work is providing you with an irreplaceable sense of purpose, fulfillment, or calling. Sometimes it's as altruistic as that. Why stop? Personality tests can actually validate this. Take a Clifton StrengthsFinder test or a Berkman. See if you have that significance score. If you do, and you're doing work that's actively having an impact, it's significant. Why would you change it if you don't need to? Other times, though, it's not as inspired as some bigger calling or pursuit of significance. You could just be straight up content. You could be satisfied. And frankly, if that's you, you've won the game. Finding contentment in your life's work is a true gift. It's one of the greatest keys academically to happiness and fulfillment. I have a client who teaches at a university for a few months of the year. He was a professional back in his working years, and later on he started this work at the university. He loves helping students, engaging with them. His financial plan says his work is completely unnecessary, but he doesn't care. He does it because it brings him joy, and it's still giving him that seasonal flexibility and control over his time while he does that important work. Hey, before we keep going, if you found this video helpful and we're talking about some interesting stuff that's helping you make good decisions for your own retirement, could you just hit that like button and make sure you subscribe to the channel to make sure you're alerted when we make new videos? The likes just help us make sure that we're producing content that matters the most to you, and we don't want to spend any time making stuff that doesn't help you. So that's just a way that you could help us out. Appreciate it. Now, the sixth reason to delay retirement, and this one is applicable if you own and run a privately held business, is if your business either can't be sold or management isn't yet ready to take over the day-to-day. Continuity planning, sometimes called succession planning, is a hot topic these days with the number of businesses looking to transfer on to the next generation over the next number of years. It's frankly beyond the scope of this video, but essentially if you find yourself trapped inside your own business, unable to extract the value through a sale to a third party, then it's probably important at this point in your journey that you be honest with yourself that maybe you don't actually own a business. Perhaps this is actually just a high-paying job. If you stop that job, and that value can't be sustained. There are a number of things that you can do here. There's different transition methods, ways that you can experiment with bringing in management teams into some type of a shared ownership structure, a management that can be trained up, competencies that can be passed down. But it's a really specific scenario that requires a specific set of tools to address properly. Switching gears back to the personal side, and lastly, the seventh reason for delaying retirement, and specifically the one that has absolutely nothing to do with money whatsoever, is the idea of spousal alignment. If you're in a relationship or a partnership, think through this decision of whether you want to go into this next season together with your partner at the same time. What we find is sometimes a couple will want to enter into that phase together into that same moment. I just had a couple last month make that very decision. Or perhaps others might choose a phased approach where one will go 1 year and then another will go 1 or 2 years later. The key isn't that one is right or wrong. The key is just being able to talk about it, being able to plan for it. Don't let this be an independent decision where one person makes one decision, the other person makes a different decision without any coordination between the two of you. Couples who navigate this season well mark their journey with clear and open communication. They have to be honest with each other. Frankly, these can be hard conversations. Acknowledge that and seek to care and love for your spouse as you figure out what that next phase of life looks like together. It's not uncommon to see an uptick in marital challenges, conflicts, separations, or even divorces through this season. So take the high road and be sure to authentically seek that alignment with your life partner. These are the 7 reasons that you might benefit from delaying your retirement. Again, not always financial. This is often a lifestyle decision with really big implications, so give it good thought. If you'd like to talk about this with someone who's walked this road with over 100 other similar families before you, that's what we do. We've seen this stuff that works and many of the roadblocks to success. Every week we set aside a few hours to help folks who have their own questions, so if you'd like to grab one of those time slots, I'll put a link in the description below for you to take us up on that offer. Otherwise, that's all for it now. Thanks, cheers, have a great day.